So Valtteri Bottas wins the Japanese Grand Prix, his third race of the season. Surprising? Maybe not. Which also means that Mercedes are now Constructors' Champions for the sixth time in a row. And because of the classifications and because Lewis Hamilton finished in P3, only now a Mercedes driver can now win the World Drivers' Championship. Now Mercedes become the first team to win 6 consecutive drivers and constructors championships in a row. What an achievement that was from Mercedes. They've been solid all season long, really. The start of the season was brilliant. You know, they've been like playing second fiddle to Ferrari in recent races, but nevertheless, they always seem to be there at the front, always winning. And it has paid off. You know, all the hard work has paid off for the guys from Brackley. So, solid job. Congratulations to all the guys at Mercedes, the men and the women who work tireless hours trying to get to where they are now. Really, really well deserved. And of course, Valtteri Bottas taking the win today. But before I jump into the race and talking about the big points during the Japanese Grand Prix, let's go into the classifications to see who finished where for this year's race. So Valtteri Bottas wins the Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel's in P2, despite starting a pole position. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Lewis Hamilton in P3. Alexander Albon, solid drive in P4. Carlos Sainz, the smooth operators, in P5. Charles Leclerc in P6. We'll get onto him as well in a little bit. Dan Ricciardo in 7th place. Pierre Gasly in 8th. Nico Hulkenberg in 9th. And Lance Stroll rounds off the top 10. Danica Kvyat in 11th place. Lando Norris in 12th place. Kim Raikkonen in 13th place, Roman Grosjean in P14, P15 is occupied by the Italian Antonio Giovinazzi, 16th place K-Mag, 17th place Sergio Perez. He might be classified in a different position as the standings are, because he retired on the last lap. I think it was in turn 2, I think it was. In 18th place George Russell, 19th place Robert Kubica. Brilliant job from Williams getting their car ready for the race, despite having that big crash in qualifying about 3.5 hours before the race started. Solid job from Williams, and of course Robert Kubica. Max Verstappen. I'm not used to saying Robert Kubica last. Max Verstappen, of course, finishes in P20, but he of course retired during the course of the Grand Prix. So qualifying took place 3 hours before the race start, 3.5 hours before the race start. Because of the typhoon that happened yesterday in Japan, and again, our thoughts here at the F1 Debate Show are with everyone who was affected by the typhoon as well, the super typhoon. Horrible incident it wasn't nice to see, but yeah, it was just it's just a horrible thing to even hear about, isn't it? So the race, obviously qualifying gets underway, and 2 Ferraris lock out the front row. Vettel P1, Leclerc P2. And in the Mercedes, Valtteri Bottas in P3. So the race starts, and when I first saw the race, when I first saw the start, I thought Vettel had a jump start. Sorry, not a jump start, a bog down start. But turns out it was totally different. So Leclerc capitalizes on that, and of course the 2 Mercedes go around the outside of the Ferraris. Vettel manages to keep his position in P2. Bottas takes the lead of the Grand Prix. Hamilton is just occupied in P3, and Leclerc is trying to battle the Max Verstappen, who of course capitalises on a false start from Charles Leclerc. Those two come to blows in turn 3. Whose fault was it? At initial, when I first seen it, I thought Max had been a bit too aggressive, and I thought he went like going around the outside of Leclerc. I thought, was Max doing one of those silly little moves that I was on about in the preview in what he did in Belgium, where it was a bit unnecessary? But when you see the onboard footage, Max actually had the line. He was ahead of Leclerc. It was only Leclerc was on the inside. He got a bit of understeer, hit the side of Verstappen, caused Verstappen to spin, bit of damage on Leclerc's car, and pretty much that was more or less game over for Max Verstappen. Had a lot of damage on his car. Was not happy with the decision as well, which was a bit weird, because they said that there was no decision. The stewards wrote it off. They said no, there's no investigation needed. And then they were going to investigate it, and then they're going to investigate it after the race. So that's a bit weird. So obviously the classifications I just mentioned there, they might all change. Leclerc might get a penalty because he is actually in the firing line. But really, Leclerc got him understeer from Sebastian Vettel in front. Racing incident. I don't think anything more is added to it. I don't think there was nothing really about that. Nothing really serious. But it was just one of those things, in my opinion, where it was just like, well, Well, yeah, it was just like I said, it was just one of the things. I'm not really going to go into it into detail. But the other big talking point was, of course, the false start by Sebastian Vettel. So as the lights were still on, Vettel, you could see Vettel move ever so slightly, just like that, stop, and then go again as the lights went out. Now, if you cast your mind back to the previous Grand Prix in Russia, Kimi Räikkönen did something similar. He started, stopped, and then went again. He got a 5-second time penalty, I think it was. I can't remember. He got a penalty for that. But then a few laps into the race, the stewards decided that they weren't going to fine or even penalise Sebastian Vettel. And a lot of people were confused by that. They were like, "Well, he jumped the start. How can he give one penalty for one driver and a different penalty for another driver?" Again, more stewards' inconsistency. And I thought the same thing. I was like, "Well, yeah. How come you can give one penalty for one driver and not for the other? It's silly." But apparently, Vettel didn't go over the yellow line that they have, which is where they place the tyre when they line up on the grid, and obviously you can't go beyond that because you'll get penalty if you put your tyre over that. And same with the race start. There's like all sorts of sensors. I think it's in the track which monitors the car's position as well. Again, if someone does jump the start for whatever reason, even like the tiniest little margins over that line, the FIA, the stewards will be informed of that. They'll get onto the team, inform them of a penalty, and then they will serve the penalty as normal. But this time around, the sensors didn't go off. There was nothing. The FIA didn't receive anything from the grid to say Vettel had jumped the start. I mean, to be fair, he was already penalised because he lost pole position and got into P2, and he didn't win the race, and he was very lucky to go into P2, in my opinion. So, I think justice was pretty much served. I know a lot of people are agreeing with this. A lot of people are disagreeing with this, but we don't make the rules. We don't make the rules. So I think, yeah, if the steward didn't receive anything from there from the sensors, then Vettel didn't do anything wrong. I know people will say things differently, but that's the overall story. I don't think we should really discuss this like meaningly because like nothing really came about it. Vettel, like I said, he didn't win the race. He was on the podium in P2, fair enough, but that's just deserved in my opinion. So as the race went on, you could see that Bottas was pulling out a brilliant lead. It was about 11 seconds from the obviously his teammate Lewis Hamilton and the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel. Charles Leclerc was doing pretty well when he was all the way down in P16, battling with Max Verstappen, overtook him, and then did some really good overtakes. But also I want to mention as well, when they made that contact, Leclerc had some damage to his front wing. His end plate was hanging off. So, and he didn't pit after the first lap because, well, he should have. I mean, he didn't. But the weird thing is, all right, he didn't really receive a black flag with an orange disc, which means that you have to pit because you've got damage on your car. It's dangerous. Anything could just fall off, go in someone's helmet, visor, or whatever, or go in the crowd, even worse. So they must pit, but he didn't get that. And Ferrari informed him, look, you need to pit, you've got damage. They didn't inform him as to how serious the damage was. And eventually the end plate broke off. I mean, luckily no one got a puncture. I mean, Hamilton was complaining on the radio about it. I thought Leclerc really should have pitted. Well, in a way, I think Ferrari should have informed him as to how significant the damage was, which I thought was poor on Ferrari's behalf. Maybe poor on Leclerc's half, because surely he would know that something's wrong. He could feel it. He could see the sparks. And the stewards should have really informed him, look, you need to pit now because this is dangerous. So, very lucky on Charles Leclerc's behalf, but he could get punished anyway because of the incident between him and Max Verstappen. But other than that, Leclerc made some brilliant overtakes going into Spoon Curve. He made about four or five, other overtakes, proving it can be done after last year. If you remember when Vettel and Verstappen came to blows last year in that race, which just added insult to injury for Sebastian Vettel back then. And then towards the end of the Grand Prix, it got really interesting between the top teams. Bottas pitted, Hamilton came out in front of him, and then Bottas exited the pits and was just like, well, hang on a minute, what's going on here? And everyone was like, oh, here we go again. Mercedes are just favouring Hamilton. Bottas, number 2 driver, and everyone was like, Valtteri, it's James and all that. But Bottas was informed that Hamilton would pit again. Did he? Yes, he actually did. A lot of people were like, I don't think he will. Hamilton, being the sportsman that he is, did well in that. Well done, Hamilton. Pitted, Bottas retook the lead, got overtook by Sebastian Vettel, which led to Hamilton. That was, sorry, not Bottas, which led to a really juicy final few laps between Vettel and Hamilton. Now you could see the superior pace of that Ferrari car between them and the Mercedes, because Hamilton was gaining, but not enough, and Vettel kind of left him for dead, if you like. Left him in the distance, and he was just long gone. See you later, mate. That's me finished. Job done. Whatever. Off I go. So obviously good on obviously on Ferrari's behalf as well, trying to keep those drivers behind. Well, when it needed to as well, and of course did very well to stay into P2. And Hamilton, of course, should have got P2. But P3 it was. And even in the prediction league as well, at one stage it was Hamilton, Bottas, Vettel, which was my predictions, which then ended up being Bottas, Vettel, Hamilton. So I've only got 3 points. Damn. I just want to quickly mention as well about Alex Albon. Solid drive from him in P4, but obviously, commiserations for Max Verstappen as well. Had too much damage. He had to retire. It was the more he continued, the more significant it was going to get. Red Bull called him in. Disappointing, frustrating for Honda. Expectations coming into this Grand Prix was good. They had this new fuel that they were running, a brand new power unit for this race, Honda's home race. Didn't work out, did it? Unfortunately, sadly on them. I just want there was a couple of other drivers as well who did pretty well today. Carlos Sainz at P5 as well. Nico Hülkenberg at P9. He had a really good start. I think he started in was it P12 or 13? I think it was. He had a pretty solid job. Pierre Gasly had a really good weekend, got into Q3 as well in qualifying, did well to stay in the points. He finished, of course, into P8, so solid job from him overall from the midfield guys. There was a number of drivers that could have got driver of the day, but we have awarded to Valtteri Bottas. Lyle, of course, coming in with the message informing us about the driver of the day. His race rating, or our race rating rather, would be 5 out of 10. Weekend rating, 1 out of 10. Yeah, because of the shortage of running and stuff. Qualifying wasn't really that good. It wasn't really exciting as well. The race was good. I wasn't really paying that much attention because I am so tired. I'm absolutely shattered. I'm not going to lie. Once I've done this, I'm going to bed because I'm absolutely knackered. I've been up since 1:30 in the morning, and I've been up for work as well, so I'm exhausted. He also goes on to say, "Well done, Mercedes. Not that it was any challenge. Not that it was any challenge. You would win this weekend and become tied with Ferrari with six consecutive constructors championships." That's a lot of C's in that, I must say. Consecutive constructors champions. Wow. Yes, of course, Ferrari had 6 consecutive constructors championships between 1999 and 2004. But if you're wondering, well, hang on a minute, isn't that a record that Mercedes have matched, not broken, in terms of both drivers and constructors? Well, Hakkinen won. Mika Hakkinen won in 1999 the Drivers' Championship, and he drove for McLaren. So if you're confused by that, then that is why the tie with Ferrari in terms of constructors consecutively, but as drivers and constructors consecutively, of course, it's a record that will probably stand for a long time. Will it go for 7? Let's see how it goes as well. But like I said before, it was anyone could have had driver of the day. Like I said, Pierre Gasly could have had it. Nico Hülkenberg could have had it. Not well. I would have said Norris. Carlos Sainz could have had it. Even Leclerc at some degree, because he made some stunning overtakes. Honestly, I'm so tired, it's unbelievable. Made some really good overtakes, good driving from Leclerc, good recovery drive. But really, it could have been a better Grand Prix if those two hadn't come together at the start. For me, no one should have really got a penalty. Verstappen was at no fault. Leclerc got a bit of understeer. One of those things, wasn't it? Never mind. That it happened, but nevertheless, let's just leave it at that, and let's continue on to the next Grand Prix in a couple of weeks at Mexico. Luckily for us in the UK, it's not an early race, it's a late Grand Prix. You're looking at about 7 o'clock local time race start in the evening, so looking forward to that as well. Can Red Bull win there? They have done the past 2 years. Lewis Hamilton can clinch his 6th consecutive his 6th World Championship. I'm getting confused with the 6 consecutives. His 6th World Drivers' Championship next week in Mexico, which, if it all goes to plan, I mean, will be absolutely incredible to witness. Bottas has won this weekend. Is he still in the hunt? Let me know in the comment section below. But anyways, guys, this is where I'm going to wrap up this review. Sorry, thank you very much for watching as well. If you are new around here, then please subscribe as well. We are nearly at 1,000 subscribers. So close. We are within touching distance. Let's see if we can get there before Mexico. Can we do that? Yes? Brilliant. Let's go. And of course, if you haven't already, go and check out our F1 debate show from yesterday when we were joined by Sean from the F1 Word. Absolute pleasure to have him on the show. Really, really good guest. We were talking about Max Verstappen of all people. Can he win the World Drivers' Championship in 2020? Go and check out that video if you haven't already. Go and check out our other videos as well that we had out this weekend, like our Drivers Decoded series about Jenson Button as well. And of course, you can go and watch our preview. It's pointless now, but you can go and watch it if you want. And of course, let us know your opinions about the race in the comment section below. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.